What is going on, guys? We're back on another video, and we're milking the rosters again. I promise this is the last one on these rosters. I know you guys have said you enjoyed them, but I feel weird about it, okay? And I'm not going to be the most informational person here, so there may be other videos like that on YouTube, but will you have more fun over there than here? Probably as well. That's unfortunate, and it's beside the point, but I've got you here. You can't escape, and let's get on with it. I had some points on Notepad, but I realized if I click that, you'll see it. So we're just going to try to remember what's going on, or I'll do editing. You know, that's a possibility. So, of course, I was going to do a top 10 underrated and overrated players, but because there's so many of them, maybe it fits as top 10 for both sides either way, but I'm just going to go through the position groups. And, you know, for the most part, the main obvious ones are going to be the ones that we go for. So, I don't want to call Patrick Mahomes overrated here. And I really don't want to, and I don't even know if I will. But, based on the whole rating system, I don't think he should have been a 97 overall in 1 year. Or, they got to give the other guys higher ratings for 1 year performances. Because the consistency, that was the big word I've been using on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Like the video and subscribe. You know, that's how it's done, okay? Is consistency. That's the biggest word. Because there is no consistency. If we're going to go off of last season's performances, Tom Brady was not great. He was not great at all. But yet here he is as the second best quarterback in the game. Apparently winning a Super Bowl is all that matters. You know, it doesn't matter that you only needed 4 points to win a Super Bowl because your defense actually clutched up as it does in the postseason. Phillip Rivers, why is he above Drew Brees, who is basically the second MVP of the league? Well, maybe third if you want to count Gurley at number 2. What is this? Why is Brees the fourth best quarterback? I don't know. As a Packers fan, I feel like this makes me more biased. Rodgers, I do feel like he had a down year, and everyone wants to use this injury thing, and maybe he just doesn't show that he's injured as much. This whole injury thing, I'm going to use it as an excuse, I guess. But if we're talking about grandfathered players, because that's basically what we're talking about with Brady here, you know, he didn't really have a great year necessarily. He had a good QB year, but not second best in the league year. Rodgers should be at least the fourth best quarterback in the game. I think you go Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and Rodgers. That's how I would rank it. I don't think Rodgers is the seventh best quarterback in the league. Even based on last year's numbers, people want to see he had a down year. You know how many quarterbacks would kill for the down year he had? Everyone's throwaways. Now, if all these throwaways were on third down, fair enough. A lot of them were on first and second down, running away from a sack. What do you want him to do? Just chuck it up to the receivers who have been dropping passes wide open? They're not going to catch it in traffic. Marquez Valdes-Scantling had a decent one in traffic. He took that risk, and it worked. But for the most part, he doesn't have Jordy anymore. Jimmy Graham dropped 2 passes that were his only 2 picks on the season. Now, I know Rodgers did have a couple plays where he threw terrible passes that should have been picked, and they weren't. But what quarterback doesn't? I think he had 4 or 5 on the year like that, and the average is like 2 to 3. So, I mean, you know, everyone does it. Everyone gets lucky. Basically, that's the moral of the story. But enough of being a Rodgers lover. Cam Newton, he had a pretty damn good year. He just got injured in the final couple of games. He was off to a great start. The Panthers were going to get going. Why is he an 84? I mean, in fairness, the ratings are okay. I think Cam should have been like an 87 or an 88. Then we have Wentz, who is having an amazing year as well. He's below Deshaun Watson. I mean, I know they're tied. Technically, Wentz is better than Jared Goff, Mayfield, and Watson. No doubt. No doubt. Dak's an 81 overall. What? Who? How? Amari Cooper made him look good with the yards after the catch, but let's be honest, Dak Prescott is not the answer. They want to pay him elite money. He's not elite money. He's decent, though. I will say. He's what the Bears hope Trubisky can become, I feel. I don't know. That's just me. You know, he's kind of like what Trubisky is, but a little bit better, I suppose. But I think Trubisky has a higher ceiling. 75 overall, I think it's somewhat fair, maybe 77-ish. You know, there's some really interesting names here. You have Eli Manning, who's like super underrated here, 72. He's playing with that offensive line. I can't blame him. You know, he's literally Tom Brady's statue size with no freaking line. imagine Brady with the Giants line. He'd be done. No Super Bowl for you. No Super Bowl for you at all. Not a chance. I know, fair in fairness, Eli does have better weapons, but no, just switch those lines. Nick Foles is a 77. Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't know. I think a lot of people are saying he's underrated here. I don't see the hype on Jimmy yet. I don't. I know he has the potential there, but like if we're talking Madden hype statistically, there's nothing to be excited about with those stats. I know he might be there. The Niners don't have a great, they didn't have still don't really have a great receiving core. We're taking a lot of time on quarterbacks, but in fairness, that is the most skewed ratings. Andy Dalton as an 80 overall. Like, Andy Dalton? Where was Stafford? Andy Dalton's better than... Mariota and Dalton are better than Stafford. You got Dak, Kirk, Andy Dalton, and Mariota over Stafford. Hell no. I know he's a little inconsistent, but no. I refuse to allow it. Now we're moving on to running backs. There's not as many because, there's a lot of just average players. Like, you can make the argument that Lamar all the way down to, maybe C.J. Anderson should be a little bit higher or whatnot. I will say Derrick Henry in an 83 overall. He showed, flashes. I think he's still overrated here. Peterson, I love that man, even though I'm a Packers fan and I've kind of hated him. Frank Gore, just whatever. 99 awareness, ironically. Aaron Jones, he's an up-and-comer, but I think maybe potential-wise a little bit higher. But, in my, top-rated players video or whatever, I don't remember what video. No, running back video. I did say guys like Kerryon Johnson, Aaron Jones, Dalvin are all kind of similar. I think Dalvin may be a little overrated here, if we're being honest. I like Tariq Cohen, so I'm not going to argue with that. Phillip Lindsay, a little overrated. Mark Ingram, a little overrated. Chris Carson, slightly overrated, I will say. Devonta Freeman, I don't know what the hell they're thinking with 89. He came off of a season-ending injury. Before then, he averaged 4.4 yards per carry, which is decent. But on a team like the Falcons, their offense is pretty potent passing-wise. Under 1,000 yards, like he had like 880. Touchdowns were lacking. He should have done better. He should have done even better. I'm not sure how, if you're going to put Rodgers at 90 because he's injured a lot. I don't know why I said that word really weirdly. How is Devonta Freeman 89? Are you really telling me Devonta Freeman is just as good as Kamara? Kareem Hunt, I can't argue. I really think Kareem Hunt was killing it. I'm kind of high on him. I think Barkley, that's severe. How is Barkley not a top 3? Le'Veon Bell should be below. Melvin Gordon, what are you doing? Like, he's played for I know the Chargers O-line is terrible, but he's played for probably the most complete team in the league. Insane receiving core. I know the tight end was injured. Phillip Rivers, who is your, third best quarterback in the game? Like, I don't know. I don't see where Melvin's so high when Barkley killed him, crushed him in yards, played on a way worse team, just overall a better player. Barkley should have been up there. Todd Gurley, 97 overall. I know he played crazy good in the regular season, but that Super Bowl game, it's telling me that that's what's to come for him. I know he has a whole offseason to adjust to his body, but man, I'm worried for Todd Gurley. I think by the end of the year, we might see him below guys like freaking Mixon. Honestly, like, you just never know. But yeah, the running back ratings are a little off. They're a little off. The quarterback ones are worse, but they're a little off. We're not even going to look at fullback. Let's just be honest. Wide receiver, I think, was actually one of their best positions that they did. However, I did have a point that I don't think Tyreek Hill should be that fast. And we're not just going to base it off of 40 times and all that. I just don't think, when you have guys like John Ross and Marquise Brown coming into the league, I don't think anyone in Madden should deserve a 99 speed and 99 excel. I just don't think there's going to be a true max speed guy. If we're saying 99 speed, 99 excel, that's the fastest player in the league at any point in time. Like, has there ever been a 99 speed, 99 excel besides Tyreek Hill in game? I think he plays really fast on the field. I think they would have been fine with 99, 98, 98, 98. I think that would have been perfectly fine. 98, 9, maybe it's a little bit of a stupid argument, but too fast. Odell, I think, should be slightly slower. Yeah, I think just a little bit. I think Antonio Brown's pretty damn fast here, considering DeAndre Hopkins deserves to be the number 1. Devontae, I think I'm going to be fine with that, I think. But Stephon Diggs should probably be lower than Devontae, let's be honest. Pure talent-wise, Devontae's better. Diggs plays as a number 2 to Adam Thielen. So, of course, I would just hope as a good receiver he would get decent stats. Devontae is the number 1 in Green Bay. I don't think Devontae is as slow as Michael. I think he's slightly faster. But as you can see here, he's technically slower. Just as slow, if not slower. Mike, I think with a bad quarterback, probably deserves to be maybe a little higher. T.Y. Hilton, fair enough. A.J. Green, maybe a little lower than that. Keenan should be higher. Edelman is great, but he is, playing that slot receiver, position. Anyone else we're looking at here? Marvin Jones, maybe a little overrated. I love Larry Fitzgerald. I want him higher, but, there's nothing I could do about it physically or, mentally here. There's really not anyone. Oh, yeah, Sterling Shepard should be higher. He's, had 900 yards as a slot receiver. Killed it. He's one of the best slot receivers in the league. You're telling me he's just barely better than injury-prone, falling off Randall Cobb? And I said that as a Packers fan beforehand. He'd come in, have a couple of good games, get injured, or just play poorly. That's not a great receiver. Sterling Shepard, I think, is better. And if you want to put Eli Manning as a 72 overall, that's pretty damn good stat line, yardage for a guy playing with a 72 overall. You got to throw those factors in. They don't correlate these things, Calvin Ridley is actually pretty damn fast. He had a pretty good year. I think that's a little criminal as well. There's a lot of guys you're going to make arguments for. It should be higher or lower. I know there's going to be dislikes on this position. Don't get me started with this position. There's going to be a lot of likes or dislikes because you're going to be like, what do you mean Dak Prescott isn't the best quarterback in the league? There's so many delusional people. But hey, it is what it is. Looking at the tight end, Zach Ertz, 93. Are you for real? He's like the freaking Kyle Juszczyk of tight ends, but better. Should be a 94, 95. Nothing, crazy. But what is this? George Kittle. You have Patrick Mahomes go from a 77 overall to a 97 overall for one good season. Kittle broke a freaking record. Why isn't he up there? I'm not saying better than Travis because I think Travis is earned with his consistency. But Kittle's at minimum a 94, 95 for sure. Greg Olsen. Why is he an 89? Tyler Eifert. Why is he even over an 80 overall? Did you guys know? I made a tweet about this. Follow me on Twitter. Did you know that Tyler Eifert in 6 seasons has 1,700 yards and 21 touchdowns? You're thinking, oh, those touchdowns aren't bad. He had 13 of them in 2015. Why is he an 88? Why is he still so high? Eric Ebron in 1 year. Kittle in 1 year freaking has Tyler Eifert's whole career, and he played on the Niners. What do you want? I know Dandy Dalton's trash, but, are you for real? Kittle is only 2 overalls higher than a guy that in 6 seasons has barely done more than Kittle in 1 year. I don't get why Tyler Eifert's so loved. Fair enough, at least Olsen actually has had great seasons in his career. Tyler Eifert's best season was 13 touchdowns, 600 yards. You can make an argument that 13 touchdowns, if targeted, majorly targeted, anyone could do that. 600 yards and 13 touchdowns is best, and by far his best. I don't get it. I never will. There's some other names you might be like, hey, why aren't they higher? Why are they low? Jimmy Graham is overrated as hell. 83 overall, hell no. Jason Witten will have to see. I'd like to put him at an 85, 86 just for what he's, done as a whole. He hasn't had great seasons either, but he's been consistent before he retired, so at least he's got that going for him. Offensive line, I'm not going to get too in-depth with because it's a hard position to make an argument on because even if you look at the stats, I'm not going to be able to look at every tape for every single player, but even if you look at the stats, you just don't know. David Bakhtiari has allowed 28 sacks in 6 seasons, which is pretty damn good for a left tackle. He's the number 1 here because he plays so well, and there's a lot of sacks that he just can't do anything. Rodgers extends the play because his receivers aren't open, or he does the dumb thing and tries to go for the big play because, the team's down by a lot. David Bakhtiari is definitely the best left tackle in the league, and according to Madden, the best lineman in the league. Fair enough. Every other Packers lineman's not looking so great, though. Cowboys looking super good. Let's take a look at who probably should be higher. I'd like to see Yanda as like a 90, 95 overall at all times. Just grandfather him in. Lane Johnson, he actually has allowed a decent bit of sacks at right tackle, but I think he probably should be a 93. What else? Quentin Nelson should be higher, honestly. 1 year still. You're going to make the argument for Mahomes. You got to make the argument for all the other players as well. Who else do we have? Taylor Lajuan, where is he? Taylor Lajuan's an 81 overall in the game. How is he not higher? I don't know. Like, how many sacks did he allow last year? I think he allowed only 2.5 sacks last year on a struggling offense. Like, I mean, that's just... Like, why do they hate them? Jake Matthews, another guy, left tackle, should be higher. I mean, you can look through every single position. I'm going to give them a pass on offensive linemen because I think that's a very hard position to make an argument on that isn't, the top 10s. So I'm not going to really argue there too much. We're going to go into left end, DT, and right end. This video is probably going to be massive. Looking at D ends and DTs, I think, first person you look at, it's probably Cameron Jordan. I think he deserves to be higher. He's played very consistently on the Saints defense. He's obviously the anchor there, and, he has had a lot of success. 12.5 sacks, I believe, last season, 10 the previous as a slower guy as well. He's just a great do-it-all. He should probably be one of the top 5 guys in the 3 positions, and like looking at this here, I know he's probably technically the 3rd best, but he should be higher. He should definitely be higher. What else do we have? Keem Hicks, that's, 87's quite low. Daniil Hunter, 86 overall. I know the Vikings defense took a step back, but Everson Griffin kind of ditched him. And yeah, he still had, 14.5 sacks? That's pretty damn good. I don't know why he's an 86. I'd say probably a 90 at this point. Justin Houston's an 87. He should be lower. If you're going to put Daniil at 86, Justin Houston should be lower than that, I would say. Everson Griffin, 85. Fair enough, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of names here, like Frank Clark, and there's a lot of guys here that you could easily make the argument to go higher, but I don't think any of them are too criminally low here. I'm trying to, see. I don't think any of them are too criminally low. That's all I'm going to say. There's a lot of, rookies as well that should be a lot higher than they are, but I'm not going to argue that because they did, make it pretty obvious that they're overhauling the rookie ratings. There's a couple of guys that are super good, and then most of them are kind of on the low side, so I'm not going to make an argument there. Looking at linebackers, Khalil Mack, I know he's a 99 overall, but I think his power move and finesse move are underrated. They have Aaron Donald basically maxed. I think Khalil Mack should be right there with him, pretty much. Like, Mack is he's a force to be reckoned with as well. I think Mack and Aaron Donald are side by side when it comes to just, pressure and just talent in general. I know Aaron Donald is, in a class of his own, but Mack is right there as well. Vaughn, you can kind of make an argument for. Jadeveon Clowney, why is he still so high of an overall? If I'm not mistaken, he actually went up in overall. He is average. He's an average player. He's playing with J.J. Watt, and he's average. I don't understand why they love him. Levante David should be higher. He's a 90. And more importantly, he's only star development trade. He's the 3rd best middle linebacker, and I believe, go stat by stat, the 3rd best coverage linebacker. He could play right outside linebacker, probably move up to a 95, 96. Star development. I don't get that at all. Telvin, I'm not going to make an argument for him. Leighton should probably be a bit higher, an 88, 89, maybe more. Why is Sean Lee an 84? Like, they just have guys like Tyler Eifert, Greg Olsen. They're just grandfather in the game to be at least above average. How is he the same overall as Darius Leonard? How is Shazier still an 84? How is he even in the game? I love Shazier, and it sucks what happened to him, but, like, this just doesn't make sense. And honestly, it almost seems like a cop-out to sell games, try to put him in Ultimate Team and sell cards because he's fast and, all of that, which is just, I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. If you want to put him in the game, why is he an 84? If we're going to make the argument that, injuries do play a factor into players' ratings, with guys like Rodgers and whatnot, why aren't there, just, if you're going to do that, everyone should be the same, their ratings based on their potential or their what they've proven, and just lower their injury. That's, you can't be inconsistent. That's, once again, that's the word of the day, the inconsistency. Blake Martinez, 82 overall. In real life, he's a little overrated, but I don't know, I think it's fine here, I suppose. Roquan Smith, probably underrated. Looking around, Vontae. I mean, there's obviously a lot of names here that could be higher than they are. Clay Matthews. I didn't even look at Clay Matthews. He's 78 overall. Floyd, he really hasn't shown up, and, he has easily the best supporting cast in the league. He should definitely be killing it, and he's just not. We'll look at cornerback. I didn't think there was too many things far off on this cornerback list. Like, everyone wants to say Xavier Howard, but honestly, 83 could be overrated picks. It happens, I mean, Clinton Dix has tons of picks on his career. Not necessarily great plays being made by him. There's just in one of his games, he had 2 picks against the Bears where the ball was just overthrown right to him. Things happen. Picks, I didn't watch every pick Xavier Howard has, but picks are not a great determining factor. You look at Richard Sherman the last few seasons, that's, interceptions aren't everything. If anything, less interceptions usually means a better player just because they're just locking down and they're just not getting thrown to it at any point. Peters, I think that's fair. Jair, maybe a little higher, but I mean, he's young. I'm not going to really make an argument there. But then again, Ward is all the way at 88. I think Ward 86 maybe then. Rhodes falls down a little bit. I mean, I don't really have too much grief with the cornerback ratings, to be honest. We'll do both of the safeties at the same time, and then kicker, punter, whatever. Eddie Jackson, I think, should be a top 3 safety in the game. I know he's number 2 free safety. He should probably be a 93, 95, anywhere around that range. Jamal Adams, maybe a little bit higher as well. Adrian Amos, I think, maybe a little overrated, to be honest. I'd say maybe an 85. But, hey, I'm a Packers fan. I like it. Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer are actually kind of low. Demarius Randall's a little overrated. Too early to tell at this point. Landon Collins a little underrated. I know they probably wanted to look at stats. But then again, I think a lot of this maybe even has to do with just the fact that they gave him bad man and zone, which he deserves to have. And those are very high influencing stats for safeties. So that kind of makes a little bit of sense. Clint Dix is an 80. Makes sense. Maybe even a little bit lower, to be honest. Kazi, that's criminally low. Should be 83, 84. Same with May, probably. There's some interesting names here, man. I'm telling you. EA kind of got a little wild. The consistency is a little rough. Jordan Poyer all the way down to an 80. Have you seen Rachel Bush? Like, are you for real? But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much our top whatever overrated and underrated players. Let me know who you guys think we missed. Let me know who you guys think I was dead wrong about. You're like, hey, Phillip Rivers is the GOAT, man. What are you talking about? But I think, we hit on most of the players. I think they just went so, random with some of the ratings that we couldn't really do a top 10, So, I mean, hey, maybe watch some other people's videos in the community and see how ours compares to theirs. Even though, once again, we really didn't make a list, we kind of just went for it. Sorry for anyone that, I don't think I'm going to put top 10 in the title. So, there shouldn't be any clickbait. You shouldn't be like, I wanted to click around and all that. So, I mean, hey, if you're new to the channel, maybe subscribe, like the video if you liked it. Follow me on Twitter, Jeromepkr. Once again, this will be the last Madden 20s rating video. Maybe we'll do something on Mutt ratings dropping next week. Probably not, though. I don't know. I think they usually do the whole, randomizer thing. Maybe we'll do one of those little sleazy, this is how to look at ratings videos. I don't know. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. We may have another video today, or you already seen it. One of the two. But, hope we come back for next video. But until next video, see ya!